Unbreak my heart, say you love me again. Undo those hurtful words when you walked out the door and walked out of my life. I can't uncry these tears. Honestly, that intro should be on Patreon, ladies and gentlemen. All right, because listen, sometimes I think I was switched at birth and my parents were a songbird. All right. To be honest with you, though, my dad can sing better than 99% of the people out there, I feel. The man has the gift of just songbirding. All right. He can be a songbird, and he said, nah, I'm going to work construction. I want to build shit with my hands. All right. It's crazy how the world goes round, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just dive right into it. All right. Welcome to Wednesday. Getting wacky on a Wednesday. All right. Listen, we're past being weird. You live around Austin for a little while. You get weird, and then you blow right by it. All right. Death by 1,000 cuts is what happened when you live around the circumference of Austin. All right. It draws you in. It's like a gravitational pull. You're in the solar system of Austin's weirdness. So we're getting wacky on a Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen. It's great to see you. It's great to be back. Yeah, I see you. I usually find out who's listening to the podcast, and I do some research. I find out who's local. I have a whole system, and then I start following people around just on the day-to-day. Just so I have things in the chamber. If someone starts talking shit to me on the comments, I go, oh yeah, well, at least I don't jack off with coconut milk. Usually shuts down the conversation real quick when you say something very detailed about someone that they're like, how the fuck do you know that? And I'm like, yeah, well, at least I don't jack off the hippos. All right. Listen, that's a weird one, is the kinks that people have that they develop from childhood. That's got to be one of the weirdest one, is if you go to a zoo and you see a hippo and you're like, well, that turns me on. But what about that does it to me? Being in the presence of a 500-pound mammal that could eat me. All right. And then you think back to that one time and you're like, oh yeah, my cousin dared me to put my dick in the mouth of a hungry hippo. And you just started feeding it, just pressing down the lever. And you were like, oh my God, this feels amazing. All right. Because here's the thing. Someone's done it before. All right. Someone has taken hungry hippos and violated the game. They probably were like, it's not in the rule set that you can't do this. Rightfully so, in a court of law that might hold up, but it's frowned upon. People are going to look at you a little differently if they're like, why is your hungry hippo sticky? Or if you're a little like, why does it smell like pee? All right. That's a pretty common question you ask when you hit that age group of being around friends, when you're going to their place and you like jump on their bed and you're like, what's this fucking plastic cover for? You know, it just smells like pee. We've all been there. We've all been there. And at that age where you're just in your mind, you go, oh, this motherfucker right here is pissing the bed. Can't knock you for it. I think everybody does it. You know, I vividly remember peeing the bed. I remember there was one time my mom was just cleaning the house. I have these weird, triggers of my traumas, as all the kids are saying, where I don't like a lot of cleaning, like being done, like in the house when things are preparing for something. Because when I was a kid, it was a World War event where when the house was getting clean, it was like you were on high guard. It was just so intense, the cleaning that was going on in that place. It was just stressful. It was like you were cleaning, people were coming over and we're like, we're in the trenches trying to just survive. And it's like, why did we start now? We should have started this process 2 weeks ago. Okay. And then there's a point where you violently just start throwing things in closets. That was always my MO, was just like, okay, let's see what I can fill in the closet. I remember one time I I was throwing just like, there's like bamboo pieces and things in the closet. I'm throwing rat food in there. But anyway, all that to be said, dude, I remember vividly us cleaning, and everybody was out in the hallway. I was a little kid. Very little. And I remember laying there. I had a pee, and I said, fuck it. I pulled the ripcord, just started pissing where I was laying. Because I'm like, you know what? I'll take this L. I'll come back on a different day and, live another day to fight. And that's what I did. I just decided to pee and just lay there for a little while in my catastrophe that I created. All right. Sometimes that's what you got to do. Sometimes and then you go, oh, I was napping. Because to my defense, I was napping and there was so much going on. And I was like, that sounds really stressful out there. I'm going to go ahead and deal with this problem later. Peeing the bed as a kid while you're awake is pretty much a credit card where you're like, I'm going to have to pay this interest later. But for now, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do whatever I want. I'm going to go on this vacation. It was a warm, wet vacation. But those are the worst. Those are the worst when your brain, your dreams deceive you. When you're laying there at night, I remember vividly again, a lot of pee stories. Your boy loves peeing. I don't know, sometimes I know it's a problem where sometimes you have a good pee. You could pee at that point, but then you go, when I get home and pee, if I just hold it now, it's going to feel so good. You're just going to be like, it's just opening up a glacier. It feels good. It feels good when you go into a bathroom and you just flex on everybody with your powerful pee. All right. I go into a place sometimes, and this is a weird thing for me. Sometimes when I have to pee before I'm going on stage, I need to pee. I'm like, I got to get this out of me. I don't want this extra baggage when I go on stage and perform. I don't want to be thinking about how I have to pee. So I'll make sure that I go pee. And sometimes, I'm like, I got 5 minutes till I got to be on stage. Maybe the person before me just got on stage. So I'm like, okay, I got 8 to 10 minutes, depending on the length of their set. And I go, I'm going to go try to pee real quick. All right. You go try to pee, couple dribbles, drip, 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 just a little bit. Maybe you get out a double shot, if you will. And then, but there's someone else in the bathroom and they're hearing this depressing pee, just some dribs. And you know what? I don't feel good about it. I go, I want to stop them and I want to go, listen, I just want you to know I got more in me. All right. This doesn't represent who I am. All right. You caught me on a bad day. Sometimes glacier. Sometimes you would think you were at Niagara Falls. It's like standing next to it. A lot of times people standing in the urinal next to me, they got to wear raincoats and shit because I'm just in there pushing pee. All right. Anyway, your brain deceives you sometimes when you're a little kid, and it makes you have to go pee in your dream. And then you're having a nice relaxing pee in your dream and you wake up, piss the bed. You know how upsetting that is as a little kid? Because the fucked up part is that you're so tired, you want to go back to sleep. But you got so much to deal with. You got to make a decision. Sometimes I was a savage. I would just move over and I'd be like, yo, I'll deal with that tomorrow. A lot of credit cards as a kid. All right. A lot of let's deal with this. We'll pay these consequences later. All right. Sometimes if it was a lot, I would just put a towel and then just deal with being in a moist bed. I'm not in a wet bed. I'm in a moist bed. All right. Maybe I put a towel down. I decide, you know what? I'll put the covers over it. Decide, you know what? This isn't going to get very wet and disgusting until I'm already asleep again. That's how my brain works. I'm not a normal person. All right. I don't know what about this has made you think that I'm just out here living in a regular life. As I drink out of my mason jar with a metal straw. And you might think, Evan, do you use metal straws to save the turtles? Fuck the turtles, dude. I keep a metal straw. I throw these in the ocean because I think about that with those turtles. I go, you know what? If one of these metal straws get in their nose, they're not pulling it out. It's done. It's a very extravagant nose piercing for them. One time I peed the bed in college. That was a messed up one. This will be the last pee story and we'll get off of it, although I'm enjoying it. All right. I remember getting very inebriated. Your boy was drunk, and I used to drink all the time with a buddy and I. For some reason, we had this older dude that would buy us alcohol. And this was the summer after senior year. And we would always ask for the same thing. It was the cheapest and most efficient way to get fucked up, but also you got to have something on deck for some bitches. We'd get a handle of pop-off vodka, which is one of the cheapest vodkas you can get. And then what we would do is we would get a Malibu rum. We get some bitch shit just for the bitches. But basically, you got to have something for the ladies. Because if I'm like, dude, we're going to get drunk, we're getting cranberry juice, we're getting something, mixing it with vodka, and that's what we'll do. But sometimes girls don't want to drink that. Sometimes they're like, ew, me. I'm like, all right, well, we got some Malibu rum. All right, a little bit coconut rum. Cocoa nut. Which is truly, I think about that. And me and my boy, we drank a lot of that Malibu rum by ourselves. All right. Things got pretty gay with that Malibu rum. All right. Just a couple dudes sometimes. Cause listen, sometimes the bitches wouldn't show up and it's just you and your boy drinking Malibu rum. Nothing makes you feel weirder and depressing than drinking shot after shot of Malibu rum. All right. But one of these nights, we were drinking vodka. We were drinking Malibu rum. It was a wild night. It was just 4 dudes. I remember this. We were out in a place called Antelope Acres. All right. And we got wasted. We used to go to a buddy's house and it was like Lord of the Flies. Your boy, a lot of people, when they picture where I come from, when I say I'm from California, they picture palm trees. They picture the beach and everything. No, your boy was born in a desert. All right. A desert. And I'm a desert rat till I die. All right. And we would just, I had a buddy who lived way out in the boonies. We would go out there and it was Lord of the Flies. We're talking, you couldn't see another person for miles. We're just out there howling at the moon. We'd find abandoned houses, bring couches, and just get nuts. All right. And I remember one particular night, it's 4 dudes. We're out there just howling at the moon, getting wild, getting weird. Who knows what was happening? All right. It's making it sound like there was a lot of gay stuff going on. Not strategically gay. A lot of gay stuff where it's just like looking back on it like, bro, you a bunch of 4 dudes just sharing a bottle of coconut rum. All right. That's a little weird. A little about Malibu. All right. I remember one dude caught a moth. It was a giant moth. You know, sometimes a moth flies by you and you're like, that was the size of a house mouse. All right. Use take 2. And it was giant. It was a giant moth. And I'm talking, dude, this thing was almost the size of a sparrow looking back. All right. Like it had a wingspan on it. It was one of the ones that they have the furry antennas. Those are the cutest goddamn things in the world. And these 2, it was my buddy's younger brother and his friend that were there. And you know, when you're even just a year older than someone, they look up to you when you're like 19. All right. Like you're like, oh my God, like they just graduated high school. We're already in college. We're the coolest people in the world. And they just want to impress us. And this dude catches the moth and he's like, look at that, blah, blah. It's impressive. But then Malibu rum makes you take it a step further. Go fucking eat it, dude. Eat that moth. It's got protein in it. And this kid, without missing a bit, takes the moth. Keep in mind, it's pitch black. To paint the picture, it's like, what's that? That movie, the witch one, where they were like out in the fort, the Blair Witch Project. That's how this is all going down. We have headlamps on, flashlights and everything, and just going nuts. He takes the moth without missing a beat, throws it in his mouth and just starts chewing it, crunching it, juicing it, everything. Tears are coming down his face, but just like unprovoked, like he can't help himself. He's not crying like, oh, you did this. he's literally just like involuntary reactions and he's eating it. And my buddy and I are just standing there watching him, literally like the shocked emoji, just, and we can't believe he's actually doing it. And it's like, it was one of the wildest things I've ever seen. And then they proceeded to get drunk to the point of like crawling all over the ground like sand creatures. It was literally like sand people from Star Wars. And my buddy and I are like, what did we do? What did we do? It was insane. And that debaucherous night, I remember we had to walk back to my buddy's place. And he lived probably a mile, and we just walked back. Blacked out. I wake up in the morning, pissed all over the place. Here's what's fucked up. And this is where things got gay. I slept in my buddy's bed. I'm in my boxers. Listen, it ain't gay when it's in the three-way. That was a weird time to say that because there was no girl there and there was no sexual interactions. I was just in my underwear. All right, nothing gay about that. That's what men do. My dick came out of the flap. I pissed all over the bed. Literally the most ridiculous amount of pee. And it's much different when you're an adult and you have to tell your buddy, hey, I pissed all over your bed, bro. I'm sorry. While you were on the other side of the bed, I pissed all over it. All right. Thinking back on it, my buddy and I, we were so anti-gay that we would sleep foot to face. But then he realized, oh, we were just 69ing, which is so gay. All right. That's the gayest way we could have slept. Two dudes in the bed. You're trying to hide your gayness by 69ing? That's wild. What else is wild is my dog farted, dude. And it is blowing my mind. I feel like I'm getting pepper sprayed right now. Ugh. Beowulf, dude, what did you eat? What's crazy about dog farts is I'm like, what ruckus are you getting into when I'm not around? Because I'm in control of your food. I know what's going down the gullet. That's not coming stock from the shit I give her. I think she's sneaking out and eating her own shit because that's like 2 times marinated poop farts right there. Anyway, this has been a very poo-poo, pee-pee, gay stuff episode, and I apologize for it, all right? We're going to clean this shit up. It's just debaucherous times in my life. It's crazy to think back on some of the things you do when you're younger, and you're like, that's wild that I'm still alive. You know, that the shit you get into and the things you try. Like, do you guys remember? I always think about stuff that's like legal and things that are illegal. Like when you think about healthcare and the things that are literally killing us. Listen, I am so close to just saying, fuck this whole model of living, going and finding a homestead and just living out in the woods somewhere. Just raising a family, having chickens, and just being detached from the world. I'll do this podcast from a bunker. You'll never see me again in person. I'll be back when there's holograms. All right. But do you guys remember salvia? Salvia, if you don't know, it is sage. It's like from what the Native Americans used to use to like trip out and see, talk to ancestors and things like that. Well, salvia was this thing that used to be sold in like smoke shops and stuff like that. And it was like, you could buy different strengths of it. It used to be something that was legal. And I got to be honest with you, I've never done DMT. I'm in the market. All right. I'm trying to see everything. And I'm scared though. I'm scared. I need a shaman to walk me through it. I need like a 90-year-old dude to walk me through it, preferably with a ponytail. And not like a white dude with a ponytail. I need a Native American. I need someone who's been to the other side. Salvia was this thing that you could buy that would basically make you trip out depending on the strength. There's, there would be stuff like 5X, 10X, 15X, 20X that wouldn't do a lot. But then there was stuff that was like 80 or 90X. Let me see how strong it would get. Salvia strengths. Let's see. Okay, so blah, blah, blah. Salvia. I want to say, because I don't want to say how, like, be overly dramatic of how much I did, like the strength level this one time. Oh my God, I almost trip out even just looking at the little bottles and looking at the herb. Anyway, when I did it a couple times, I like haven't done it since because it was such a wild experience. First time I did it, I was in high school, and it was a cool experience that time. It was because I don't think it was very strong. I think I did something like 15 or 20x. It was the one day that it was like snowing in the desert where I was. I want to say I was a senior in high school. Did it in this girl's, she had a jacuzzi, but there was like a little spa house. Like the jacuzzi was in the backyard, but it was inside of this thing. So we did it in there. A buddy did it. He takes the first hit. I'm always like dude, I don't give a shit. I'm the person who's having someone else try it first to make sure I don't just overdose and foam at the mouth. I'm that guy. I don't give a shit. Pissed my bed as a kid. Who cares? He hits it, literally just start mumbling and like laughing and blah, blah, blah. He's just like tripping out. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I take a hit. I stand up and I start walking around, and then I go outside. It's snowing, which is already tripping because it was like, it never snowed and just the experience was wild. And I remember looking up and being able to see every single little snowflake swirl down at me. And I could see them coming from far away. And it was like a cartoon. Like I could see it. And then every time a snowflake, like it would hit my face, it would go boom, 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 boom. Had like an echo and reverb on it. It was so dope. The girl that was there with us also, she started tripping out a little bit, and she kept like, I guess her house like turned into a clown house, and there was all these crazy colors and everything. And then on the TV, Shanghai Noon, I don't know if you remember that movie, dude, A Deep Cut. That's a great movie. Was playing, and there was a part where Jackie Chan goes, somehow this girl latched onto that and just kept doing that. Like she couldn't communicate normal. Another time I did a stronger batch. It was like 40 or 50x, which was like crazy. And I forgot everything. I forgot what a human was. I forgot everything. Like it was the craziest thing. Getting a phone call from someone I shouldn't have picked up the phone to at that moment. Realizing I shouldn't have picked up the phone. Then thinking, who am I talking to? And then thinking, what am I holding? Then thinking, what is this? Looking at my hand, and then looking down and going, what is all of this at my body? And then looking around being like, what is any of this? And then even going, what is exist? Like, what is, I don't know anything. Like for some crazy reason, my entire brain emptied. I couldn't comprehend that I was in a backyard. I couldn't comprehend I was a human. I couldn't comprehend life. I couldn't comprehend any existence. Like I was completely blank. And it was one of the scariest feelings for a split second. I remember just being like, oh my God. And then there was a tube. I remember there was like this crazy vortex thing in front of me. And I was like, apparently, I guess I was reaching towards it. And my buddy was like, where are you going, Evan? Where are you going? Because that's what's crazy also about salvia. Only lasted a few minutes and then you're back. Sometimes it was only like a minute, it's so dope. If you're going to trip out, that's phenomenal. It was crazy. And then literally the last time I tried it, we did something like 90x. Like the craziest one we could buy was the most expensive one at the smoke shop. We tried getting in a good mood, in a good zone, and being like, yeah, all right, we're cool. Let's do this. Yeah, let's have fun. My friend hits it and he's like, ooh, I'm on the color canoe. Ooh, like having a great time. And I'm like, oh, cool. All right, let's do it. I hit it. And all of a sudden, a crazy wind comes through the room, and I start rolling violently fast back and forth all over the bed, like everything's spinning. It was insane. And then I get sucked out of the room, and I'm like, we're on the second story. I'm getting sucked out, and I'm above like the ground, but I can see everything on the ground, like the side of the house, everything. And then I'm getting pushed back, and then I'm rolling around in the bed, and I'm getting thrown out, and then I'm getting pushed back. And this entire time, there's this giant tree next to me, like the biggest oak tree ever is next to me, but it's like moving with me when I'm moving all around the place. And then what's nuts is all of a sudden I'm just there, and I realize, apparently to everyone, I hadn't even moved. I was just sitting there the whole time, but felt like I was rolling and moving all over. But it was just such a crazy perspective thing of thinking that that I was moving, and I could actually see the outside of the house. That was the trippiest part, is it was nighttime and I could see everything. And I knew the backyard, but I knew what it looked like at that moment. And it was like matched up, which was a trip. And then that was only like 45 seconds or a minute. And I go, haha, yeah, like I'm back. That was crazy. All right, guys, I got to go to the bathroom. I was really kind of freaking out. And I was like, let me go into the bathroom. And I go into the bathroom, and all of a sudden I'm sitting there on the toilet, and I just go, then everything starts doing flips. All the shampoo bottles, everything in the bathroom just starts flipping. Cause it's supposed to be like 2, 3, 4 minutes. I left the room at a minute, so I was still in it. I hear my buddy's girlfriend take her hit, but I hear her start freaking out and screaming. And then I'm like, no. Like, I'm like, that's messing with me, the hearing her freak out. And I go, just get all your clothes off right now. Something tells me to do that. I strip down butt naked, and I'm standing in there in the bathroom, and I'm literally like, all right, let's get out of here. Like, I was going to walk out naked. And then I stopped and I go, Evan, what are you doing? Stay within these confines. You took your clothes off, you freak. Chill out. Everything stops moving in the room. I'm like back. I put all my clothes back on, and then I walk out, and they were like taking care of her. She was like tripping, but it was like coming down. And then I literally was just like, I was not done. And shame on you guys for letting me venture out, you know? But that was salvia. I don't even know what the fuck this episode was. We really got into the thick of it. But good times. I wouldn't trade a single goddamn thing of what I experienced those crazy times like that, because that's where all the juice is. That's where all the stories are. That's where all the life is, the living, you know? I don't recommend it. You know, it's life is for living, but you gotta, you know what I'm trying to say, kids. Hopefully there's no kids listening. That would be wild. I don't think so. But thank you for listening to this episode, ladies and gentlemen. It was a good time. We went down memory lane. What is this, Wednesday? This is coming out. Catch me Thursday in San Antonio. We'll be doing a featuring spot at the Burleson Yard Beer Garden. I get to see your boy do a longer set, 25, 30 minutes. Yeehaw. I got 2 shows on Friday. One at, where is this? In Mount Manchaca. We have one show, Texas Keeper Cider at 7 o'clock. And then at 9 p.m. on Friday, I'll be in Cedar Park at the Pinball Show. All right. So check it out, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. And remember, no matter what, I still love you.